they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it, many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sunrise, when the sun. I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Catch me howling at the moon. When it rains, it pours. Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sunrise, when the sun. I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it, many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sunrise, when the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? I think we're good. I think we're Gucci. Flinter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you guys hear us all right and stuff like that? And we're looking all good? Much better than last time. That's right. And look, we even had an intro this time and some funky music, the theme song and stuff like that.
Good.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty damn good. 46 lovely people today. We already smashed last week's record. You're awesome. Thank you for stopping in. So today we're going to just tackle like a different range of subjects under the blanket of like, you know, what is ethical hunting. And it's going to be like an open discussion, guys. So like, you shouldn't get angry about things, because basically the idea is just to open up your mind a little bit, because like we're talking, Flinter and I were talking off stream before, like even in states, you know, depending on which state you're in, some things are legal and some things are not, and stuff like that. And I think it's quite a good thing to start talking about, because a lot of people get really focused on, you know, because that's the way I do it and the laws in my state, that makes it the way it should be done everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And some of them are probably right. You know, like I'm not saying they're not the way they should be done, but you know, just
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, do it, because I just keep talking. You know what I mean? Just keep cutting me off all the time. Do it.
Well, I know for me, like I'm gonna have to really channel like remembering that it's not only Pennsylvania hunting, like the way that it works, because most hunters, I would say, here are against baiting and against certain things where it's very much like considered, I mean, it's legal, it's considered normal in places. So I need to make sure that I'm channeling my own thoughts on that kind of stuff for this, because like you said, people get caught up in their own thing. But I think that's going to be important to have any kind of actual discussion, is just, you know, remembering that it's done differently other places.
Yeah, that's right. And like try and kind of look, I don't know, maybe like what is the outside looking in or something. And like I'm going to be like real super honest too. Like I've done some stuff, especially when I was younger, that, you know, like I wish I hadn't done, especially with goat culling and stuff like that. And then also coming out of New Zealand to other places, there was a whole bunch of stuff I couldn't work out about hunting. You know, like why are there seasons and stuff like this? You know, like in New Zealand, you can just shoot 24/7. You can shoot at night. You can do whatever you want, because everything's a pest, right? And then it took me a while to realize that everything, basically, I mean, there are some exceptions as well, but everything else is like natural around. Sorry, it's part of the ecosystem around the rest of the world. So you have to have seasons, because it's a delicate balance, you know, where in New Zealand we want to get rid of all this stuff. So, and then I started to actually get respect for like animals and stuff like that, where I kind of didn't really have the same level of respect when I was in New Zealand, just because of the way they're treated. And like, you know, goats and possums and rabbits, they're all just seen like rats, you know. They just want to get rid of them as however they can, really. It's probably like pigs in Texas, I guess, you know, they're using helicopters.
Yeah.
It's the same in New Zealand. Like currently in New Zealand, actually the government has paid a whole bunch of professional cullers to go and shoot the tahr population, the Himalayan tahr. Like we've got Himalayan tahr in New Zealand. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. But like that's like such a crazy weird asset, because it's the only place in the world you can hunt Himalayan tahr legally. I think in the Himalayas they're protected. I mean, I could be getting my facts wrong a little bit here, but that's basically what I've heard. So, but anyway, been rambling on a little bit, but we got plenty more rambling to do. So yeah, so yeah, like we asked on social media too, guys, like if you guys had any topic suggestions as well, and we've got 3 that have been added to the list, which is quite cool too. So what do you want to start with, Flinter? Have you got anything on that list that you're like, this one's burning for me, or you know?
Bedded animals actually is a good one. I think it was this morning, watched a hunt. It was kind of like a special situation, but I just watched a hunt on bedded animals, so that might be a good one to start with.
Yeah, sweet. So what was it? Well, do you want to start talking about the video you saw? Maybe that's probably a good place to kick off.
Yeah, I can describe that quickly first. So the particular hunt was a buck that I think was almost blind or like completely blind. It got gored in both eyes, and there was like infection and stuff. So he was like bedded down, but that was sort of, I don't want to say a mercy killing necessarily, but that kind of thing where it's more like kind of responsibility as a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one is a kind of hit or miss topic for a lot of people. There's either the side that's like, well, what's it matter if it's laying down? It's still, you know, you still have to either stock in or, you know, whatever has to go into it. And then there's the side that I'm actually not even necessarily sure like everybody's viewpoint on why it's kind of frowned upon
Yeah.
to shoot a bedded animal. I've never done it. I've never had the opportunity to do it, so I'm not even like super serious about it. I think just from like what I've heard other hunters say and my own kind of viewpoint on it, I'd probably try to like avoid doing that. But the other thing is, what happens is when people do stock bedded animals, then they try to, make a sound to get it to stand up, and that if you're trying to avoid some kind of like poor hit because it's bedded and you get, you don't practice like that and things are different that way. I can see that, but I don't see how that makes it any more ethical to just make it stand up right before you shoot,
Yep, I got you too. And in some ways, actually, speaking about shot placement too, is you might be better off. And like if it's lying down, it's going to be the stillest it's going to be. It's not going to
Yeah.
jump the string. You know what I mean? So you've actually,
For sure.
especially if you study the anatomy of the animals and stuff like that, you might actually be in some ways more likely to make a better shot while it's lying down, just because it can't move the same, and so this is kind of where we're going. It's a great topic to start with. Is there's so much to, what is ethical hunting, and so I think, from my understanding is they think it's not fair game. Right, so if you kill something in its bed, it's not the same challenge as sporting, So I think that's where the original intent of that kind of unethical thing comes from with it. But
Yeah, I would say so.
yeah, but again, like I don't know, because the other thing too is if if you stalked up on it, like that's kind of a skill in itself. Like you have the skills as a hunter to get in that close to a bedded animal, to put the shot in, which hey, I guess that is easier than stalking an animal that's grazing or standing or something like that. But you know what I mean? It's I guess like if you rolled up in a car, jumped out and shot a sleeping animal, that would be like a little bit different, if we're talking about in pure hunting, but we'll talk about cars a little bit later, probably. So, yeah. What did you say? Chaz says, my thoughts, if you can hit a vital, whether the animal is standing, lying down, walking, or running, if you can hit a vital, I think it is an ethical kill. Taking risky shots with the animal may suffer. Yeah, so I think you're saying, Chaz, that it doesn't matter what the animal is doing. The key thing for you, for ethical hunting, is the kill element of it. I think that's what I'm getting from Chaz.
I think so. I'm actually, like, as we're sitting here, almost starting to change my mind, because I had a scenario, I think it was 3 years ago. It was pretty much pouring down rain, and I was kind of walking to my stand, and it was just this perfect place where there was some deer feeding, where they were, like, down over the hill enough that they hadn't seen me yet, but I saw their backs. Now, they all turned out to be just young ones. I didn't shoot any of them, but I stalked within 20 yards till I knew they were, like, just, 9 months old, however old they were at that point in the season. But that is a circumstance thing. And I'm kind of thinking of it, it's sort of the same maybe when they're bedded. Like, some of their senses are turned off due to the circumstance. Maybe because it's like a natural process where rain's natural, but the animal doesn't choose that. Yep. Maybe that's where there's a distinction, but
yep.
I was just thinking of that. The rain kept them from hearing me, and probably to some degree from smelling me.
Yep.
Maybe that's something I should actually kind of think about, because that's sort of an unfair advantage in some way.
It is, but like I know some animals too change their behavior in the rain to avoid that stuff too. But because they're younger ones, actually, as a scenario you're talking about, maybe they haven't quite developed those skills and stuff yet. When I was in PA, Jim, who was next day, was telling me that in the rain where they are, the turkeys come out in the fields when it's raining because they can't hear properly when it's raining. So they like if they're out in the middle of the thing, their eyesight's it's harder for something to sneak up on them in the open because their eyesight will pick it up. So he said in the rain, you often see the turkeys where they are there anyway, out in the open. So that was kind of interesting, I guess. But it's kind of weird too, because the whole thing is we're like emotionally driven beings. Where like a cougar's like probably hell yeah the rain, I'm
Yeah.
going to go and stock up on a few different deer here. Like they probably love the rain for that reason and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about being in the rain as a disadvantage, especially because like it has its disadvantages too. Like you can't see as far. Often if you're using optics or something like that, it's a little bit harder. I'm the only deer I've ever shot at with a rifle. Actually, I missed because of the rain. So yeah, I don't know. That was interesting. I never even thought about that. Like a unfair advantage. Yeah, I mean you're both in the same playing field too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's an interesting one. Like, I don't know why that thought hit me, but it's really making me think about my viewpoint on like shooting them from the bed, really.
yeah, yeah. So what do you think? Like before we ended this conversation, what was your thought about the bed shooting from the bed then?
Before we entered it,
Yeah.
I was pretty much against it because I felt like sort of that almost like it's not fair game or it's not fair chase to that point. But now, you had a good point about like they're that still. You're probably as capable of making an ethical, clean shot without it. Trying to jump the string or whatever, like as you possibly could be. I might be leaning more towards it being kind of more ethical than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Is like I guess me as a hunter, right? I'm always trying to find an advantage, and if I can find an animal bedded down somewhere, I think that's an advantage I'll capitalize on. That's just how my brain works on that one. I don't. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it, and I don't see it as a bad thing because okay, here's the difference: is it's bedded there, but people put tree stands in where they know animals feed past or walk past. So what's kind of what really is the difference? I guess I don't know. It's still patterning and like it's still a different phase the deer's in for the day. It's just a different thing, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That was interesting actually. Yeah, the rain thing I'd never even thought of. I'd never thought about that as being an unfair advantage.
Yeah, I actually hadn't either. It just randomly hit me while you were talking. It
Yeah,
kind of popped in my mind.
yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, I'm just trying to read through some of the chat to see if I think it was like you say. I think a quick clean kill, as long as you used skill of stalking and being camouflaged, I don't think it's ethical. But just like walking around, being on them, and there's one bang, is not ethical. Okay, so for Lucky, you saying then like if you were stalking up like with a bow or something, you think that would be okay. But if you saw one bedded 200 meters away with a rifle, you wouldn't want to shoot like that. Maybe
I think that's where I'm at. I don't like the idea of necessarily just shooting it. What's the difference when it's feeding or walking around though?
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels slightly less fair chase shooting with a rifle long range, but I guess that's the case in any rifle kill. So maybe
exactly.
again, that's when you
exactly.
start to put things into perspective. It kind of changes.
Yeah. It's weird. I look at it all because, and especially like before I'd started bow hunting, I probably wouldn't have even thought about that really. But you're right. Like a rifle is unfair at advantages, no matter. At distances, no matter what. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, obviously, a longer shot's harder to make too. So.
Well, true.
Goes the other way, but yeah. I'm just trying to say. Just stay in the stand. You have a better chance anyway. 2-0 outdoors.
If you're hunting from a stand and there's a deer bedded, I probably wouldn't be getting out and going after it. But if you're already just spot and stock kind of hunting,
yeah, for sure. Flinter, while hunting the deer population in the woods you hunt, do you find yourselves practicing herd management? Is there a rack style you like versus you don't, so you target the bucks with the wrong rack?
that's never been something I've really done. I pretty much focus on like filling the freezer, and then as far as hunting bucks goes, like I try to let young ones go. Like get the big ones.
Yeah, big.
The only thing that I'm trying to do is make sure I'm hunting mature animals. I make an effort to not shoot like younger, call them fawns if you want to, but the yearling deer, they generally are better food. But I like to try to make sure I'm taking mature animals. So that goes for bucks. I'd want to shoot ideally 3.5 years old is where I look for. But really, I can't age a deer that well on the hoof anyway. So if it ends up being a big 2.5 or whatever. But yeah, it's not the antlers necessarily. I'm not trying to do any kind of herd management with the gene pool. I'm just trying to hunt mature animals because I think that's just, again, this is kind of going into the ethical hunting thing. I think that's something that you should do is sort of I don't know, general ethical hunting, not shoot the youngest ones because that's kind of goes into that unfair advantage. Again, they don't have necessarily all the survival skills they would a year, 2 years later.
Yeah, that's it. I just seen Josh Leavitt didn't quite understand what I was talking about with the unfair advantage thing. So with a rifle, compared to, we were talking about two different scenarios there. One where you're stalking up on a bedded animal, so it's a little bit trickier because you got to get within bow range to make that kill. Where with a rifle, you've always got an unfair distance advantage, if that makes sense, over the animal. You don't you obviously have to do some stalking. You got to watch your wind and stuff like that too. But again, what's the difference if the animal's standing at 200 meters or bedded at 200 meters? Maybe even we go as far as we're saying with the bow is that if it's bedded down, it's not moving. Maybe you've got a better chance of making an ethical shot again with it. I'm just speculating here. Obviously, every situation is different, so I don't know. But
yeah. It got to an interesting point. There's a lot of stuff I hadn't considered that we started talking about during this conversation, which I guess is the idea behind this.
That's right, just open it all up, so,
Yeah.
Yeah. I know in Finland, especially after the war, the big moose with antlers that were more like spades with little spikes jutting out of them were shot to extinction. Yeah, I don't know if you know that, Flinter, but basically most of the Scandinavian moose are what they call rod horns. So they don't have any palmation on them. They do, some of them do, but a lot of the big ones are no longer existent because they got shot to pieces. So the moose horns are actually a little bit more like deer horns with made of tubes more than palmation on them over here. So it's kind of interesting.
I've seen what you're talking about. I didn't realize it was due to what was discussed there in chat, the way they were hunted to extinction nearly. That's interesting.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything close to being what would be considered a trophy in Alaska or anything like that in Sweden. Maybe they are out there. I'm definitely not a moose expert by any means, but I haven't seen any in social media or anything like that, which you'd kind of expect to pop up. So, yeah. With a rifle, I'd rather not shoot an animal that is bedded. I'd rather it have a chance of running off if I miss, Yeah, okay. That's cool, Lucky. Yeah, I get it. It's nearly impossible to manage a wild deer herd genetics because does carry so much of the DNA, but I still try to take out the inferior bucks when I can put a younger hunter on them. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea, Bottom Boy, for sure. Josh Leavitt, me personally, I would shoot a spike considering it had some inches filling the freezer as not trophy hunting. Yeah, I think you're saying, Josh, that you much prefer the meat rather than the antler. Is that what you're saying? And I'm yeah. That's, I think Flint was saying too. Is meat's number one, and then for me, the antlers is a memory, and it's a nice thing to capture the story, I suppose too. And I also think it's if you don't, for me anyway, if you wouldn't do something with the antlers, I think that's wasting part of the animal, and it's kind of for me anyway, it's a weird thing. It's a respect thing, to show it off. It's I don't know. It's weird. That's how I view. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if I made sense there actually, but
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, it's for me. It's it's cool to have it as a memory, and that memory is a tribute to the animal, I guess is how I see it. I have it keeping the antlers, and I would think that chopping them up or burying them to me seems like a waste. I want to make the most out of the animal, as much of the animal as I can, really. So But there we go. Last Saturday bow opener here, there were 5 does away from me at 110 yards, then spotted me. If I had a rifle, I could have easily taken one, but obviously a kill with a bow from that far is unethical. Yeah, that's actually something that I think we should... That's a good segue, Dilly, into the one on our list here is shot range.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a good thing there, and I'm gonna stand on my statement and say that everybody's ethical shot range depends solely on themselves. I don't think people should judge other people for it. That's just what I think is like, there are people with far better skills than me that can shoot, 90, whatever you want to say. Like, I mean, I don't know if Cameron Haynes would ever do it, but you've seen him shoot 150 yards. No worries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, for me, I think shot range, especially with a bow, is kind of up to that person's skill and also knowing their gear. Where I think with a rifle a little bit more, like you can hit something at a distance and the bullet stops being effective. So we're generally with a bow, as long as you make a accurate shot, you're going to lung an animal still at 110 yards, basically. I'd never shoot that just for I think that's where I am in my head. I might be wrong about that, but that's where I think about it all. So, for me, for the last season and this season, I set myself a limit of 40 meters, which is 44 yards for the Americans, and I ended up shooting that fallow deer at 46 meters in New Zealand. Just felt confident. I had a nice clear line at it, and like I was saying too, this is another plug for Obsession, but the bows are very steady. So, but yeah, so that I'm stopping talking about that now. I think you guys get where I sit from that point of view on ethical shot range, but I don't know what you think about it, Flinter.
I'm pretty much in agreement with that. Like, it can go back to when I first started hunting. For one, my bow, beyond 30 yards, the arrow would do a nosedive. It just didn't have the capability of shooting much beyond 30. It just didn't have the force and stuff. Now with the new Obsession, I don't think I'd shoot a deer at 50. I'm quite confident at 50. I think 40 is going to be my limit this year. Maybe 45, because there's situations that like your fallow deer actually. There's at some point, I guess there's a range where it's too much, but simply for me, the reason that 40 or 45, whatever, is my limit is I know at a certain point there's too much in my mind that can happen when I take that shot, where the animal can move, or there's a branch I can't see that the arrow is going to deflect off, or so many different factors that go into shooting an arrow that far. That's just, I do think you're right, though. It has to be down to the hunter, because there are people that can do it. Like you said, Cameron Haynes shoots 150 yards. I practice at 60 all the time to be better at those shorter ranges, but that's down to the hunter, I think.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And one of the Swedish, if he's watching, you know what I'm talking about, he made a really good statement today, and he said, ethical hunting is what you do when no one's watching.
Yeah,
and I'd never thought about it. I was like, yeah, that's right, like, because there's probably people that do not do what they, if they're in a group or something, they'd probably hold themselves higher than if they're by themselves. You know what I mean? So I thought that was quite a good way to look at things, and a good grounding to build your own ethics off, really, I think. So yeah, like for me, I set myself a limit, and then then I break it, taking out that fallow deer. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a good idea that everyone, especially for bow hunting, has something in their head where they know their limits anyway. So yeah, and I actually came up with the 40 meter thing after shooting 3D targets, and I could hit the vitals. What was it? I think 87% of the time over the shots I took. I can't remember how I worked it out. But then actually when I went to Finland, I hadn't taken into account, the buck fever, the excitement, the adrenaline and stuff like that. So I had dropped it down a little bit more. So
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so and then this is the whole thing too is depending on which rifle you use too, and what caliber, what bullet you're using, what load. Same with the arrows too. What weight you're using and things like that. There's too many There's too many factors, and that's why I don't think anyone should set an ethical limit, or whatever. Like you do you and you judge you, and because at the end of the day, if someone messes up, they're going to be the ones hopefully feeling bad. Like some people don't care, right?
Yeah, and that's where some of those limits come from is those mistakes and stuff. But I think you made a good point. No one should set that ethical limit because who does it? If it's me with my bow at 15 years old, it's 30 yards.
Yep, exactly.
If it's Cameron Haynes, it's way further. So I don't think anyone should have that.
No, that's right. I mean, basically, probably what will end up coming out of this conversation tonight is that it becomes down to a lot of the stuff comes down to the person and what keeps their soul clean. Does it make sense? Like the action they carried out, you have to be okay with that at the end of the day. So, yeah, crazy. I was watching this video where some people was going Marco Polo sheep hunting, and they said in the area where they were hunting 500 yards was average. Yikes, snakehead! That's with a rifle, I guess, right?
Surely.
Down one of those freaky classic shots. They stand up on top of the hill, the White Rhine Ridge, and yeet arrows down the hill at them. So they were using rifles. There we go. So yeah, but yeah, so that's what I was saying is and the other thing too, guys, which I mean, most of this conversation came out actually just from working at work, and we'd put a feature out, and it was, I'm just going to be brutally honest here. Most of the time, it was Americans saying, "Oh, you can't do that because it's illegal." You know what I mean, and not thinking outside past their back door. And I'm not saying that it should be legal in your area, because we'll get into that later a little bit too, is depending on where you are, there's probably very good reason for, I mean, like in PA where we were hunting, you weren't allowed to use rifled calibers because there's so many houses around, right? It makes sense. That's perfectly, I think that's a perfectly fine limitation. There's probably people that disagree with me, but I would say there was people probably getting sick of bullets coming through the walls and stuff, so
I'd say so.
Yeah.
It usually takes about one to get sick of that, actually.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, I've been shot at actually once. That wasn't very fun. But
I bet.
Yeah, no, it wasn't very fun. We think we were going possum shooting, and we used to go up to this, what's called like a pony club where they ride horses, and we'd go in at night and spotlight all the big trees and stuff. And it was a really nice night, and we were heading out across the bottom, the first part of the paddock there. Me and my mate Sam actually, and we heard, like, literally like you hear in the movie, like a whiz past your head. And we looked at each other, we're like, didn't say anything, just kind of shrugged it off, kept walking. And then another one came past. And we're like, was that bullets? And then another one came past. And we turned around and started walking away. And what we think it probably was guys harvesting their marijuana at nighttime. Not wanting to be bothered and just scaring us off rightly. But yeah, that wasn't a very nice experience. So yeah, anyway, whatever. What were we talking about before? I was talking about getting shot at towards? Oh, that's right. Yeah, just different areas for different stuff. So yeah. I've totally lost my train of thought now, but that's all right. Things happen. Fisherman Marie was saying, I've just jumped in. If hunting was involved, there's a ton of time from point A to point B on long shots for the animal to move, which leads to if the hunter is comfortable taking it. Yeah, exactly, Rue. 100%. And let's just jump back to that a little bit, I suppose. Exactly what you said too, is some people understand animal movements and can predict things a little bit better, but it's never 100% guaranteed. So
yeah. Nothing is.
No. So what else? You picked something out for us now, unless you got something you want to say about shot range. But, I mean, what do you guys out in chat? You want to keep? You guys got any points you want to? Oh, look at Bottom Boys one. Should we talk about that?
I do like that a lot.
So, We were going to talk about that actually, bottom boy. If you guys join the Discord, the Meat Hunters Discord, I strategically put a photo in there of a doe. I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. That I saw on social media today. And it's, yeah, Messiah's written that. It looks very dead to me. So if you jump into the Meat Hunters Discord, I think I should be able to chuck. I need to sign into chat. Damn it! Wait, can someone? How do I cancel?
Yeah,
this
Streamlabs does that now. It's very annoying.
Can I? I can't even cancel it. Can I?
I've never tried that.
Oh man,
never got that far.
I can't get my Hang on a second. I need to sign into here now. I'm a dumbass.
Epic.
Yeah, epic fail.
It happens.
There we go. Anyway, so I'm going to drop the Discord link in there just in case you haven't been invited to it. So there it is there. Jump in there. Have a look at the picture, okay? I'll give you guys a little bit of time to have a look at it. So if you go into the Community Hub, the main section, actually that's something I'm going to do is try and make them a little bit more refined. And then have a look at in the images. I'll put a ping in the Discord to make it faster. There we go. You'll be able to see it now if you're logged in. So this was on the Crossbow Hunters of America or something, like just one of the pages that I'm on. Yeah, if you don't like Squeam, sorry, I should have put that out disclaimer.
Probably.
Don't go and have a look at it. It's tidy, but it's kind of a bit gruesome. Okay, I think it's probably the best way to describe it. If there is a best way to describe things. Yeah, so headshots, Flinter, what do you think?
I think I'm kind of agreeing with what's being put in chat. I guess that depends because there are scenarios, but in general, I think it's too low a percentage. Like, you think of probably like the part of a deer that maybe can move the quickest and the most, it's probably their head. And if you're off by a few inches, you're just having some kind of not so nice, mangled kind of injury that you're causing that is not going to kill it, and it's just going to go on for however long dealing with that. That's not something I would do. Now, if you shoot a deer, like say in the spine, and it drops and you need to dispatch it quickly, absolutely, that's probably the fastest way to make sure it's expiring. But other than that, that's never something I would do personally. I think it's too low percentage. There's too much that can go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's it. I'm kind of the same too. I actually tried head shooting a goat once and shot it in the antlers. Again, I opened this scene up and said there's stuff I've done in the past that I wish I hadn't done. Did I say antlers and the horns? Sorry, I shot it in the horn, and I thought I missed actually. And then I followed up with a better shot and I knocked it over, and I went up to have a look at it, and it had a nice little neat hole in the horns. But yeah, and then it's funny actually because possums, all you do is head shoot those because when you're spotlighting at night, you see their two little orange eyes, and that's all you can see, and you just line up the two orange eyes, with the 22. We're talking like max 100 meters here, like real max. And you just dong them in the head. You get really good at shooting. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's definitely not the best shot choice. I think that's probably the best thing to say on it. And then let's go throw to some like what do you say? Extreme examples at you. A boar running at you. A pig running at you. You're going to be shooting that thing at bear. Probably, you're going to be trying to aim for the head, right? But that picture anyway, that was with a crossbow. Geez, I'd never try a headshot with a crossbow or a bow.
Nah, that's, again, not only are you dealing with the fact that, like, say you're using a gun, like from the moment you decide to take the shot to the trigger pull, there's still stuff that can happen. When you're considering that there's, even if it's at say 10 yards, there's some fraction of a second where that deer can decide to move before the bolt, I guess in this case, gets there. I don't like that.
Yeah, I saw that picture too, Chaz. I don't know if you see that one. There's another one, classic one with a deer running around with another deer's head stuck to it because it died. Yeah, absolute classic. But yeah, and I know a lot of meat hunters in New Zealand just neck shoot stuff. So I think neck shooting is probably the next better step. I still don't think it's the best step, neck shooting, because there's still parts that you can blow holes through, and it takes a long time for the animal to die. But there is a lot of juicy stuff in there that messes them up pretty bad too. And depending on the angle too, if you're shooting from the back or from the front, that's pretty brutal. For a neck shot, you got more like chance to to do some damage on that way. So I don't know. And then let's backtrack a little bit too. There's no caliber recommendations in New Zealand for anything. You can shoot whatever you want with whatever you want. And I know some people that head shoot deer with 22s over there too, especially around like housing complexes and stuff because it's quieter. So
right,
yeah, crazy, eh? It's just the world,
yeah.
The world. So yeah, geez, but I mean, I think headshots are basically. What do you reckon? It's a pretty. I'd say most people think it's not such a great idea.
Yeah, that's a risk assessment kind of thing that, like you said, most people are not willing to take that risk.
Yep, exactly. So, the neck target is the best right where the neck meets the body on the deer, center of the mass there. Yeah, exactly, bro. That's where the spine comes down. You can kind of see it actually. It's got like a ridge that you can line it up with. But that's something I've never intently practiced either. Like I wouldn't feel confident enough to make a neck shot side on. Yeah. So
that's not something I would do either.
No, it's just
that actually. A super quick story that actually happened. We're going to talk about driven hunts actually here shortly, I think, but maybe we can segue that way.
Yeah.
We did one in the late muzzleloader season here. I had filled all my tags, as some of you guys will know, and I was just doing a drive for my family, and my brother's girlfriend was there, and she shot one trying to hit it, behind the shoulder, double lung, but she actually got it straight through the neck. And when you hit that shot, it's as clean, like an ethical kill as you can get.
100%.
That's the thing, is it's a low percentage thing. So that one was lucky. It wasn't meant to be that way, but instant drop, it, like probably zero pain. That's what you want to happen if you can, but again, risk assessment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hose is saying that's the thing too, spine and major arteries in there. Like you do have that's what I'm saying, it's the next best shot from a headshot. If that makes sense, because there is a lot more in there too. Hey Dawkins, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while. So thanks for dropping in, man. And actually, yeah, thank you very much for everyone turning up. We've already smacked last one's numbers out of the park today, so it's fantastic. So yeah, let's do that. Let's jump into drives, and I think a little bit here I might lean into. Well, let's follow into that. The European drives and dog use and stuff, I think, but in PA, well, actually no, I did some in Sweden too, but PA was the first time I'd done drives. And I thought it was quite a good system actually. I didn't really have too many issues with it. It's just more, again, like, if you think shooting an animal that's bedded down is unfair, why is driving not unfair? Like you're pushing them through somewhere, an area, you're forcing them to do something. I just kind of class them as the same, really, in my mind anyway. So because a lot of guys do drives around you too, don't they, Flinter? You usually like reap the cream off their drives, is that right?
Exactly. That is why I got my buck this past year. I sit in a tree stand, everybody does the work. It is a common thing, but I don't necessarily like what's done generally here for bear hunting, because it's like 20 guys all line up, and if a bear runs through, everybody is firing. That feels a little bit not fair chase. But as far as like a couple of people doing a deer drive, this goes back to, in my opinion, the same thing that you said. I mean, people set up a tree stand where deer are going to go. When you do a deer drive, it's not just like, you sit right in front of where... Okay, you don't know exactly where the deer's going to go. You have to find that stuff out. That's something that you pattern or whatever. It kind of goes the same way. You have to understand what deer do when they're going to end up running from that drive. Like, you find out where they go, and it's kind of the same as actually sitting in a tree stand. And I didn't really have that perspective until earlier this stream, but I think it kind of goes back to that same thing. You know where they're gonna go,
Yeah.
and you're maybe forcing them there a little bit. My brother's in chat. What's going on? But yeah, I think it goes back to that. You actually have to know what they're gonna do.
Is that Big Ike? Is it?
It is.
Big Ike, what a champion! What a champion! I like your European mounts, dude. I think it looks sick. So thanks for joining in. But yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Is I don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think drives are a fair chase thing. That's just my opinion on it. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do them. I just think, if you do drives but you find some other parts of hunting a bit unethical or whatever, then, I think there might be a little hypocrisy there. But like I say, is where we were doing it, it makes sense because it was funnels between housing and stuff like that. So it was an efficient way to hunt, an effective way to hunt as well. So and like I was saying before, is maybe actually now I'm a hypocrite because I was saying as a hunter I will try and find any advantage I can, and so maybe that's just an advantage. I don't know, just what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What have we missed? Barcelona. I'm training my puppy up to be a tracking dog, and if you're around Charleston and need a track, give me a call. There we go. We're like the Tinder of the hunting world for tracking dogs. It's great.
It's fantastic. I like it.
Jesus Christ. Robert James says, I don't like drives. My brother was shot and killed during a deer drive. He wasn't even part of it. It was just sitting in his blind. Jeez, dude, that is crazy unlucky and bad. I mean, that's the other thing too, actually, is you generally are shooting towards the people that are driving the animals. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. That's like when we set up our drives, we're generally like
sideways or something to it.
Sort of. The way we do it is the specific one that works the most. We're wrapping around a hill, and you're never in any sort of danger there. And that's the other thing going to drives. Let me actually back up on what I said.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the drives themselves that I think are, super ethical. I think shooting an animal during a drive that was spooked, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. When you're putting in, Chaz actually said it, when you're putting in the time to learn where they're going to go, and you have to, I mean, it goes to what was just said in chat there, you have to know what's behind your target. You can't just be shooting blindly into the woods at a fleeing deer, and that's why I said about bear hunting, 20 people shooting is not good. That's dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're doing a drive, that's something that has to be considered. You have to be safe doing it.
Yeah, that's it. And like Nick and his dad Jim were just absolute experts at driving. It was crazy because we, like he did a lot of drives for me, which he did all of them basically, and the deer that would come through were always calm and just walking, like they weren't stressed out and stuff like that, and that gave me a much better chance to have a shot at things. Obviously everyone knows unfortunately nothing panned out from that trip. Oh, apart from a crossbow kill, but and then sometimes he had some friends, and they'd be going, yeah, smashing branches and stuff, and the deer were coming past me like a million miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like maybe if I had a shot, I wouldn't even want to get shot with a shotgun. I don't think, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think you know what I'm going with that. So yeah, but yeah, exactly. I mean, again, this is just like an open, honest conversation, and I'm not. Yeah, it's an efficient way to hunt, really, and you're right. Actually, is there was a lot more skill to even just waiting for the deer, trying to pick the right place where you think the deer are going to come through, trying to pick where you can be hidden from the deer and still get a shot on it and stuff like that too. So it was quite a big eye opener actually, and like I say, Nick and his dad are. I mean, I've only done it once, but I don't know how you could do any better than what they were doing. So, yeah. So there we go, and we're going to touch on bait and stuff a little bit, guys. But I just kind of want to flow on because I find, I mean, coming from New Zealand, this is quite an eye opener, and I wrote this in a Swedish hunting page the other day, actually, is that I find the Swedish culture, well, hang on, at the start I found the Swedish culture, hunting culture, quite weird, because basically the stereotypical way, and it's probably Finland too, Hosen, so, disclaimer, now I like it, I understand why it's done it, but, you meet up in a car park or whatever, everyone comes in there, everyone's dressed really nice and swanky, which I thought was kind of weird, but it's actually just a different European hunting dress style. Like, if you go to America, everyone's in camouflage and kind of business stuff, where in Europe they're in kind of trim cut, nice looking hunting clothes. Not like the tweed suits or anything like that, but it's quite a different hunting style. Anyway, and then you go and get put in a stand for 2 or 3 hours, and then they work dogs through the area and push all the animals past the hunters. And to me, and I probably still lean on this a little bit, I understand it's a type of hunting, but I think you're more shooting than hunting doing that. That's my opinion on it, because it's quite a bit different to the drives we were doing in America and stuff like that. And I think it's a bit more like shooting fish in a barrel. Like, again, it's about that fair chase thing. Is there's not a lot of, for the shooters, there's not a lot of skill. For the dog handlers and stuff, there's a lot of skill and training that goes involved in it. And then, but after I'd gone out a couple of times, I understand now why it's like that. And it's a cultural thing. The people can't afford to hunt by themselves. Like in New Zealand, like in Sweden, there's hunting teams are formed because people pay to lease a block of land, and then so everything gets split up between those hunters. So they have to try and make the most out of that thing, and it's a very social way to hunt. So after you do the first drive and stuff like that, most of the time everyone comes out of the stand, and then they go and cook sausages around a fire, have coffee, and all this other stuff. Oh, and you'll usually take coffee out to your stand with you too. Sorry, you get a flask and stuff like that. And so, from a Kiwi where you have to go walk into the bush and tramp or take a tent with you, and kind of grunt it out or man it out, whatever you want to call it, to this kind of swanky armchair style hunting, it was quite an eye-opener for me, and that's probably been my biggest thing to turn around my head about. And it took a long time to analyze why they do it, and all this other stuff. And yeah, I don't know, that's me rambling on about it, but it was an eye-opener anyway. So Hosen's probably there flipping tables and stuff like that. How dare you? But yeah, and then I think dogs for tracking and for retrieving are a good idea, but I don't know, they use them for bailing up moose and stuff over here and things, and I think that's part of the thing I still find a little bit too easy, I guess, because you know how good dogs are at finding animals and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, I accept it. I understand the culture, and I gladly, and I do participate when I get invites and stuff like that, but it's just something that's I guess a little bit harder to swallow. It's still very fun, but yeah, in terms of ethical fair chase, that's where the question for me lies, is fair chase, and then especially when Sweden doesn't allow, they think bow hunting is illegal, is unethical, but then their main style of hunting is this kind of basically. So yeah. Woo! Let me get a breath. Yeah.
That was a long one.
Yeah, it is. So, me personally, using dogs is lazy way too easy. Yeah, but on the flip side, Josh, I think like bird dogs and stuff, that's quite a big difference. Pointers, and like I say, tracking dogs, they do have their good points, So I don't think you can say as a blanket thing using dogs is lazy. And like I say, is actually being a dog owner and training the dog. They put a lot of time and stuff like that. It's very rewarding for the dog owners. Like they get a big kick out of their dog working very well,
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, dogs in New Zealand are pig dogs. So if you guys are bored one time, you must be able to go and find it. Google pig hunting with dogs in New Zealand. Go to YouTube. You'll probably find a million videos there. So they have a pack of dogs that work very well together. They'll have finders and bailers. And so usually the finders will go out, and if it's a big pig or whatever, they'll bark and just keep it kind of in a spot. And then the holders, the other dogs hear this, and they run to them, and they come and hang on to the ears, and they just, pull it right down and hold it there until the hunter turns up. And a lot of the dogs get killed. Like most of them wear Kevlar around their necks and stuff like that, so they can't get gouged by the boar and things. It's very exciting hunting. I've done that once. But yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is that in some parts of New Zealand, that is the only way you'd pig hunt, because the bush is so thick, you'd never see them. You know, unless you had a helicopter or something. So, I feel like I talked absolute,
Talked a marathon.
That's it. There we go, Hosen. What about hounds, whose purpose is to find and get the ears moving so the hunter can get a shot at them? I was talking to Yorna about this, Hosen, and I don't get it. I get Yorna because he likes it when his dog works well, right? So this is what I was talking about, is like, I can understand the bond with the dog and how it's fun to work as a team with the dog. But I come from a country where you stalk the rabbit. We don't stalk, you walk around with a gun and shoot the rabbits, basically. And I guess you do have to stalk them because they've got quite good eyesight and stuff like that. But I'd never dream of having to use a dog to get a hare or a rabbit, I guess. But again, I haven't done it. I don't know. Maybe when I'm there, it's a lot more exciting. The energy's there or something. So, in Tennessee, the pig dog's down where I went, grabbed onto the nuts instead of the ears, froze those pigs. Oh, they do sometimes grab the nuts as well, Ryan. They do. But yeah, and then the hunter comes over and rolls the pig over and sticks it in the heart with a big specialized knife. The end of pig, basically. So. End of pig. Yeah. So crazy, eh?
Chaz wrote an entire novel that I think she wants to be addressed. Basically, she was, to sum it up, was saying that she doesn't like to spook the animals because they release like an endorphin or something like that with the adrenaline when they're sort of like fleeing. It can make the meat not as, say, high quality.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yep, and actually, it was funny too. Thanks, Jazz. I was just kind of like deep. I wasn't even looking at chat really. I was just deep in my brain thinking about stuff. Something we noticed in PA actually, because a few other people got deer while I was there too, is if they were liver shot, the meat seemed to be darker. I don't know if you've seen that, Flinter, which is kind of interesting when we were processing them. I don't know if that's.
I can't say I've ever liver shot a deer to know, actually.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to see. I don't know if anyone else in the chat, there's people in the chat who have killed bazillions of whitetail probably. But that was kind of something interesting to see as well. Was the meat was a lot darker on the animals that had been liver or, gut shot a bit. So pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Geez, where are we going? I can't hear. Yeah, when I get on those big rampages, it's hard to recenter sometimes.
Try to get back to normal.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, and again, like, we're having a discussion with you guys and with Flinter as well. So feel free just to, say whatever you want. So. Speaking of processing deer, cutting up your own deer is the best way to learn the anatomy and how to make ethical shots. It is, Bottom Boy. And I'm a bit weird. I love cutting them open and seeing what the arrows did because I learn a lot from that. Really enjoy that. Not in a weird way, just to literally see how the arrow affects the organs, and what it takes to do it. So,
yeah, I like to see that, and I like to see just sort of like confirmation that I did what I spent the entire, summer practicing to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I heard someone say the reason why they use dogs for mountain lion hunting is because it makes it easier to tell if it's a male or a female. Okay. I mean, I think those are just probably That'd be pretty notorious. I mean, I don't know actually. I'm only speculating. They'd be notorious. They'd be really hard to hunt without dogs, I think, because they're such a fast onto it animal too. So bailing them up seems like a effective way to do it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's maybe not so much skills of spot and stock and being super stealthy and all that, but it's also not just walk to mountain lion. There's a lot of like hiking and all this stuff that happens.
Just fly me in when you found it, please. Like, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Just parachute right down.
Oh, that's funny. School is much less important than hunting podcasts. I probably disagree, Big Ike, because school will pay for your hunting in the future. You know what I mean? And we're on the VOD too. But, you know, whatever. Flint is your brother.
Yeah, well, if there's anyone that might have that perspective, it would be the one that dropped out.
Oh, that's funny. I have 2 whitetail down, 1 and 2 points, and I am 9 on the same day. Wait, you've shot 2 whitetail down today and you're 9? Is that what you're saying last breath?
I think so.
Well, that's the case. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome. Very cool. My pops always told me that if I gutted a deer and the heart was still perfect, I needed to take a bite out since I didn't hit it. Oh, that's funny. Actually, if I get a red deer or a fallow deer, I'm going to be cooking that heart up. I really have been looking up some good recipes and stuff, and it's supposed to be really delicious. So
It is.
yeah, I don't think I've ever eaten deer heart. So yeah. Whitetail fever, true. When they go in a tree, people can easily see with a scope what gender it is. There we go. About the mountain lions. That's kind of cool. Is there restrictions on only shooting males and females?
I think there is.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure if that's the reason necessarily, but I think that was meant to be sarcastic anyway.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. No worries.
I'm guessing the dogs figured it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think it's just an efficient way to hunt the cats, and again, from what I can see, it's pretty easy shooting too. So you're more likely guaranteed to get an ethical shot on them. So
Yeah, they're still once they climb the tree usually.
apart from the, you know,
Well,
I've seen some of that going on, but shoot a little mule deer with my Caplock muzzleloader last weekend. Nice, Kevin. Congratulations, guys. I'm just thing I said is I'm insanely jealous of Americans basically now because of the awesome hunting grounds and stuff you guys have got. In Sweden, there's no public hunting grounds, ladies and gentlemen. Bow hunting's illegal. Yeah, so, you know, be thankful, basically. Be thankful. What are you saying? People are saying the heart's the best spot. Someone, Rajan thinks it's a little bit salty. Okay, interesting. You can tell Oh, sorry, where you go, Flinter?
I was going to say, if you put salt on it, I've never... Anyway.
How do you cook your heart?
Interesting. We've done it a couple of different ways. Sometimes we've just had it, like, as part of, like, burger if we don't have a specific thing planned. But we'll just, like, do different things, fry it. I think we have done, like, deep frying it before, which was interesting.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be.
nothing super fancy, but I like it a lot. It's not quite like liver, but it's an interesting kind of texture like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, I'm going to slice it thinly, like across, and then fry it in the pan with some garlic and some butter, just really quickly. Apparently that's supposed to be super nice, so it's going to keep it simple stupid, basically, and roll with that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that should be real good.
Josh Levitt got my doe permit for the 4th year in a row and a bonus for the first time. So that means you can shoot 2 doe, is that right? What part of the country are you in, Josh? Bottom boy is saying, this was the same man who wouldn't let me hunt for a whole season because I couldn't put 6 arrows in a pie plate from 30 yards. I spent a year shooting all the time, and next season when I was 14, let me in. I always think setting things like that is going to make you appreciate stuff a lot more than just, yeah, sure, come along. So
Yeah.
Very cool. What else we got going on, Flinter? Don't know about mountain lions, but with bears in Alaska, they rather you shoot the males. Actually, someone said about... Oh, that's right. In high population areas, you can shoot both, but if the population is low, you can only shoot males. So whitetail fever was saying about the mountain lions there, so it's good. Spit it and then cook like a steak. All right. Yeah, interesting. Public land here is bad. You are more likely to get shot here than you are shoot anything. Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound probably naive because I'm not there, but from what I've seen, you know, you can drive and go elsewhere quite easy. Would that be an accurate comment, Flinter, or am I just talking out my hole in my head?
It would depend. There's gonna be places you can get to that's not the case, but it may be
too far
very
away
difficult
or
to access.
whatever.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I gotcha. So it would require more effort, I suppose, is the thing, and which is hard because you need more time off work and more money because it's more expensive and all that other stuff too to drive there or whatever.
Right.
So. Yeah. What else have we got on the list? Geez, that's an hour already. It didn't even feel like that. So, that's right. We were going to talk about baiting, right?
Yes.
I'm going to need to drink some water. What do you think about baiting?
Well, that's an interesting one. I saw somebody talk about it, like when it came up in chat there, because food plots are kind of, a thing that's very much accepted almost anywhere, whereas baiting tends to be frowned upon in a lot of places. Obviously, specifically where it's illegal, but even in states and areas where baiting is legal, there's going to be a lot of people that are against it. I think I'm not one that would ever hunt over like a bait pile. Maybe for bear. I'm not sure, because the thing is, it's illegal to bait bear in PA. I told you my perspective on the way bear are normally hunted here, because it's drives with like 20 people and just a war zone out there. So I'd almost wonder if that's more ethical. I don't know. I don't like the fact that with bait, what you can do is put them in a specific spot where you want them to, be for your shot. Whereas if you have a food plot, even if it's only, 30 yards wide or whatever, they still can go anywhere in there. They can feed all through it, where they're not going to that one spot where you have like the best opening and maybe cover to draw and all that. I think it's a little less fair chase when you can just put a bait pile down and really direct them exactly where you want them.
Yep.
That's a little bit beyond like what I consider super fair chase. But like I said at the beginning of this, I know that's common and accepted other places. I don't really have an issue with people that do. It's just not something that I would do.
Yeah, I gotcha. No, that's cool. In Finland they have carrots there for the white-tailed deer.
Right.
But apparently part of that is actually about looking after the population, because of I don't really understand how it works, but the food source going into winter gets scarce or something. So yeah, I don't really know how accurate that is or whatever, but
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, and that's what actually that's where I shot my deer. It wasn't the bait pile, it was the stockpile for the bait. So it was where they store all the carrots before they take them out to the places. It's the same, right? I'm not even going to pretend, but it was, for me anyway, in my first season with the bow, it was good from an ethical point of view, because they were stiller, etc., shot placement, blah blah blah. Again, it was like putting me with my skill level at the time in a better position, you know what I mean, to make a so
I got you.
Yeah,
I think, assuming Rue's talking about what I just said, the counter to that is limited hunting area and opportunity. Like I said, I think that's more where it's legal. Like, I don't have a problem with people doing it where it's legal. I have a problem with people doing it where it's not legal. That's not so good. But because that's unfair advantage stuff. But yeah, I get it. I can see where, like you actually said too, for like certain skill level stuff, that's actually good. But yeah, just my own what I would do. It's not something that I want to. That's a line that I have for myself.
Yeah, it's fair enough too. And, I mean, it's kind of along the same lines too as high fence properties, right? And I make it no secret where I'm going next week in Latvia, all going to plan, is a high fence place. But the only reason it is high fenced is because in Latvia you're only legally allowed to bow hunt in a fenced off area, and that is so you can always recover your animal. That's the theory behind it as well. So like I wouldn't have. There's a lot of outfitters, especially in New Zealand and stuff, that have huge properties that are high fenced. Like you'd never see one side to the other. I don't have a problem with that because the other thing too is it's protecting their business. You know what I mean? Like they have special animals and stuff there. But if it's a smaller high fenced property, then I have quite a big problem with it. So yeah. So
I got you.
Yeah. So I'm internally torn actually about next week. But like I've really gotten like my options are almost don't hunt at this stage, which I want to go hunting, so I'm kind of a little bit desperate, I suppose. And they've assured me it's a big enough area, and it'll be fine. So we'll see what happens when we turn up. But anyway, bait, yeah. Let's get back to that topic. What about like for pigs and stuff? Like, what about using it to try and control populations and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's different.
Yeah.
I think that's fine because when you're doing it like for the good of the population, for the herd, I think it's not necessarily completely different from hunting, but it's taken on a different form at that point than the challenge aspect and stuff that goes with your normal everyday hunt. Like if there's, like you said, herd management or whatever that has to be done, that's the most effective way. And again, if you're making like that positive change, I guess, then yeah,
there we go. No, that's cool then. And yeah, I mean the only thing I think actually is, especially it happens in Sweden a little bit here with the pig feeders, is the hunters don't really end up using them to control the population. They'll shoot one pig off it and then kind of let the rest calm down, then come back and shoot another pig. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a double-edged sword too, those sorts of setups. But yeah, it's the way it is, I suppose. And what about decoys? Some people frown upon using those. Oh, do they?
I've never heard much argument against decoys. I can kind of see where that goes because that's getting into something similar to bait, but it's not quite the same. Like for me, I don't see any issue with it. It's the same as calling. You're trying to beat the animal's senses.
Yeah, that's it. I really like to watch Stephen Ranella's book and his series. It really increases your knowledge. Yeah, it's amazing. The amount of knowledge that man's got is crazy. So, Zero Beast totally lost over there. He's going elk hunting in the Rockies either this month or next month, and it's where y'all made the new Call of the Wild map. That's cool, Zero. Good luck, man. I am jealous. Maybe one day I get to go elk hunting. That'd be great. So,
someday.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks to Head saying he's never been there, but I heard Texas has high fence ranches that are like hundreds of thousands of acres. Yeah, probably, man. Texas is huge, right? So, even with baiting being allowed for hogs and bears, I'm still on the fence about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's funny as I don't think in my mind. I don't think it's an unethical thing. I just think it's too easy. Makes things too easy. That's the thing I don't like about it so much. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think there's some level of difficulty or challenge that maybe it doesn't have to be a part of the hunt, but for me, that's something that I actually enjoy and look forward to, is that, several month long grind to finally get things to go right, whereas maybe that's not so much happening with hunting over bait.
Yeah. Geez, you brought up something we were going to talk about, but I can't remember what in the world it was now.
I did?
Yeah, I was like, that's right. You were talking about beating animals' senses, Flinter.
Oh, I see where we're going.
Yeah, what a segue, what a segue. What do you guys feel about scent eliminators, scent blockers, nose jammers? What else is there? I think it's about all the categories of that, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, what do you guys in the chat room think?
Are you making a what's the word I want? Are you differentiating between scent eliminator and say like doe urine, like attractant kind of scent, or are we throwing them all into the same?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, let's split them out. Okay, let's start with scent eliminator, like a cover, a scent cover, like, yeah, scent eliminator. So the one you spray on you to try and hide your smell. What do you guys think about that one?
Because that goes back to what we were talking about too. Like there is some unfair advantage kind of thing, but I don't think that's. I don't know. That's beating the animal senses in a way that I guess I've never had an issue with, because probably I see a lot of people do it. But it's interesting when you start to talk about it and see like what everybody thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I see in the YouTube videos, they're kind of accepted in the American hunting culture. I don't know if anyone's had any issue with it, but again, like it's just kind of funny as like some things are accepted and other things are not. Where, you know, like why is using scent eliminator any better than using baits?
Yeah, because you're still doing something to give yourself an advantage that.
Yeah.
If you were a wild creature that didn't have access to this technology or whatever, that you wouldn't have. Ozonics is another one that we should lump into this, because that's another high-tech scent eliminator.
Well, I don't know what that is. Is that the Bernie things that they, like the little electronic thing they bring along with them?
Yeah, so the way I understand it is it's creating ozone, and that is like an unstable molecule or something, so it grabs some other molecule. I don't know exactly how it works, but essentially
I have to look it up. Yeah.
The production of ozone masks your scent, and apparently is very effective. I've considered going that direction, but I've also heard that those units sitting in your tree, like if they get wet or whatever from the rain, they'll quit working. So I'm like, I don't want to pay that much and then have it stop working after the second hunt.
Yep, I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like actually one of the does that got shot when I was in PA, they cut the glands out of her. And Nick was using that stuff, put it in a bag and then pull it out and stuff like that. So I mean, like that's kind of exists naturally too, you know. So I don't know, it's not too bad. But I mean, you can't. I still don't think you can beat using the wind, right? Like
that's what it comes down to.
That's the be all of end all of hunting, really, is trying to use the wind to your advantage. So let's take that to the next step. Then is the what the hell was that stuff called, Flinter?
I can't remember the specific name. But
I'm going to find it for you guys.
does.
I'm going to find it for you. So I'm going to be trying out a product in Latvia, actually, for Dana, who's the owner of Hunters Free in Europe. I'm just trying to... where is it called? Scent Thief. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Scent Thief, ladies and gentlemen. So this one takes it another step, which we had a good talk about. We're not really sure ethically wise what it's like, but we're going to give it a try anyway. So this, you guys need to go to scentthief.com and have a look at it. So this one actually shuts down the deer's nose so they can't smell anything at all. Is there a difference?
It's probably not that extreme either. Like it's probably not like...
Yeah, it probably does. You're right. It probably doesn't work as good as they sell it to be. But yeah, it literally apparently relaxes some amazing scientific terminology thing in your nose that controls the scent, but it relaxes it. Like kind of how Vicks works, or Vicks Vapor Rub, or whatever you want to call it. Same sort of stuff. So that's kind of the next level thing. They claim it's the only product out on the market like it at the moment. It's supposed to be kind of the next best thing, but geez, I mean, now I just thought about it too. Like, we use camouflage to trick their eyes. What the hell's the difference in using this to trick their nose? I suppose
it's funny when you start really considering like
just dig into it.
Why you have those certain lines that you don't want to cross. Like, I see people are talking about the scent eliminator still. You talked about playing the wind.
Yeah.
They can certainly still smell you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
If the wind is wrong.
Yeah.
And I would certainly think it's the same case with scent thief. Like, it surely can only work to a certain degree.
Yeah. Yeah, Bottom Boy, it's I think you see Flinter on Facebook. It's got good reviews, doesn't it? Actually, the scent thief thing, was it you?
I think it
that?
did. Yeah.
But you know, I Bottom Boy, I think the thing is it relaxes and they don't realize they're not smelling anything.
Yeah, it's not like it suddenly shuts off either. I would imagine it's like a slow thing.
So yeah, and it has an odor is the thing too. So they are smelling something. It's just that it. They can't smell anything else after that. But yeah, I don't know. There's actually no. I mean, my chat froze before too. I don't know if it's frozen again now. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I say, that's accepted, right? Scent eliminator is accepted. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like range finding sites and bows and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with them because again, I think it gives someone a higher chance to be more ethical with their shooting.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with it, but some people again think it's cheating, and then I don't know why that is. I wish Luigi. Is any of you guys here from the States where you're not allowed to use electronics in your bow stuff? Do you know why that is, Flinter? Do you know, like, is there some rule?
I don't know the specific. It must be something to do with like just kind of like fair chase, because I know they were talking about there's certain states where that 90% let off on our bows wouldn't be legal, and
Oh, really?
that one doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, because I get the whole like fair chase, like it can't be too easy or whatever. Like the animals have to have this opportunity to escape. That's kind of what fair chase is when it comes down to it. But as far as I'm concerned, like better let off means more accurate shots because your arms aren't as tired. And I can't see that being anything but good. I really can't see any
downside,
fathomable way. No downside to that, because what are you gaining?
Yeah, and
like, I don't get that.
I mean, like a rifle's got 100% let off too, right? So
yeah, there you go.
what's the difference? I don't know. There we go. Bucks and ducks outdoors. Why? I love to learn this stuff. You know, like what is the logic behind it, and why can't you use the electronics? And you just can't have electrics anywhere on the bow, right? Is that how it works? But you can use rangefinder, I think. I mean, and that's the other thing too. Why is it okay to have the batteries in your pocket in a rangefinder, but it's not okay to have it on the bow? I don't understand it. You know. Yeah.
Interesting for sure.
Clear shot. How you doing, buddy? Stream's going good, man. I'm really freaking enjoying it, and I think both myself and Flinter have opened up different doors in our brain tonight. That's
certainly
kind of like, okay, actually, you know, in more ways than I thought. So it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
I use them grouse hunting all the time. What, for the rangefinder hosing, you mean, right? Oh, the thermocell. What about thermocell to keep away skeeters away? Best investment early season. I saw one of those the other day for the first time, Bottom Boy, when I went roe deer hunting. Yeah, it seemed to work pretty good. So, it's not legal. I have no idea. Washington is weird. Okay, so it's in Washington. I thought there was like, I can't remember where Legia is, but some places you can't use expandables too, right? I think so.
I think they have a bunch of ones like that. I wonder if lighted knocks are allowed then.
I don't know.
Because again, all that does in my mind, maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, which there's been plenty of that tonight. But all that does in my mind with a lighted knock is be like, okay, I made a good shot, I can go track it now, or I didn't make a good shot, I got to back out. Like I don't quite see the logic behind that. And I'm not even saying lighted knocks aren't allowed, but any of that kind of stuff where it's just making it more likely that any animal you do shoot doesn't go to waste, and those shots are better and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you miss, you find your arrow easier. It's less garbage lying around the hunt.
Happened to me last year. That that one that I shot over.
Yeah.
I'd have never found that arrow if it wasn't for the lighted knock. It was buried under a lot of grass, but just waited till dark, walked out there and saw a little red glowing patch, and that was that.
It was the same in Finland. That the first deer that the arrow flipped over, actually, and smacked that deer. We came back after dark, and I found the arrows super easy, super duper easy. It was great. It was so good, so good.
They're a great invention.
Yeah. So, isn't there some things like Pope and Young and Buckeye Big Buck Club, which is for Ohio, where you have to have a certain let off in order to qualify? Yeah, I think that's right, Clear Shot. Actually, I think Pope and Young has to have 60% let off maximum, 60% or something. Yeah, I think so. I don't really know why.
Yeah, it's another one where
The old boys club rules, probably. I think I would imagine that shit gets scrubbed out in a few years' time, probably. Unless I'd love to, maybe there is some good reason, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. But
yeah,
I don't know. So, Flinter, can you read in that one? Can we expect a bow season episode from you? Do you have any bucks that you have your eye on?
I'm planning on doing weekly videos again, and I should have more doe tags this year, so that's going to be nice. But yeah, our archery season goes a little later. There should be, I think, 7 archery season videos, and there's a couple of bucks that they aren't quite to the quality of the one we had last year, but I'd certainly
smoke them.
Take a shot if I got the chance. But yeah, nothing like super huge that I'm like, that's the one that I have to spend my entire season going after.
Yeah. That's cool. Caleb's got quite a few lighted knocks to glue in tomorrow. Yeah, I was hoping to get some for the Latvian trip actually, but it just kind of ran out of money and time, and I've had other things to focus on. So they're cool though. They're very cool. I like lighted knocks.
Yeah,
I'm a terrible geek for just gadgets and stuff. Yeah. I'm stubborn about shooting a deer. I watched my buck last year die from my stand, but I still waited 30 minutes before getting down. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing, bottom boy. So,
yeah.
In Washington, expandable broadheads are legal, but they have to be under 2 inches. Do you mean cutting diameter?
Probably, yeah.
Why would they have to be under 2 inches?
Yeah, again, I think that's a weird sort of thing to restrict, because why would you not want a bigger cutting diameter and a better, a quicker kill? Unless it's something like maybe you're risking more variability in the arrow's flight. I don't know. There's some really interesting laws.
Yeah, well, they tend to say you get like not enough penetration or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, maybe.
Here in New York, you can use expandables if they become you can't use if they become barbed after opening. Yeah, that's interesting. That one, Trevor, actually is. I never even knew about the barbed broadheads thing until this year, because you can't use barbed broadheads in Spain either. So
yeah,
that's kind of interesting. Did you see that Chuck Adams? I don't even know who Chuck Adams is. Sorry. Now has 200 Pope and Young trophies. Wow, he must have an amazing trophy lodge though.
I bet. I've seen he's in all of like the magazines and the catalogs and stuff where he used to be. He's been doing it for a very long time, but 200 like that are deemed like trophy quality is insane.
That's ridiculous, eh? What broadheads y'all running? Expandable fixed? I'm running fixed 3-blade VPAs, and Flinter, you Rage, right?
Yep, 3-blade expandable Rage. I've used them since I was 14 when I started bow hunting, and I've never hit a deer that the shot was good, that it didn't bring it down, so why change?
Yeah, exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
But yeah, I used those heads in New Zealand, and they were just amazingly good for pass through and all that other stuff too. So, how do you feel about salt licks just before that one disappears? Again, I don't really have any strong feelings. It's the same as any bait to me. I think a salt lick. I know in some parts actually it's good for your herd management to have a salt lick out, so they get the proper minerals and stuff to be healthy. So,
I would say right now though, with CWD still being relatively common, it might not be so good to have that sort of stuff out and about.
Yeah.
That's all the deer contracting it.
Yeah, okay. I've heard of a hunter shooting a wild boar in Germany, and he immediately got down from the tower to go take a look. He was later found dead next to the boar, both femoral arteries open. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not necessarily, but they do benefit them a lot more, gives them better nutrition. There we go. Chat's going good now. It's good. You guys are really cranking it out.
Yeah.
It's also going to the range finding bow sites. I hunt blacktails, so shots are very rarely 50 yards. Okay. Chuck Adams is the original hunter way before Haynes, Remy, etc. Okay. Is he like Fred Bear kind of era, or is he like after Fred Bear Wolverine?
He's still doing it now, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. So he must be.
He's kind of like on that level.
Is he on the Jim Shockey thing then? Kind of age?
Yeah, I'd say
yeah, okay.
Somewhere in there.
Okay, gotcha.
Jim Shockey could be 40 or 60, though. I'm really not sure.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, he's had a bit of weathering to him, so. Wait till the bow season came last Saturday in West Virginia, Mount Mama. You just got to say that. I have my eye on a wide 7-point and a tall 8, but it's been too hot to do anything with the meat. Okay, so you've just been waiting for the temperatures to come down a little bit. Yeah, I mean, let's get on to the next kind of topic, because someone was like talking about cars and stuff, like hunting off roadways and things like that. What do you think about that, Flancho? Like, I mean, I think in PA, right, you're not allowed any. Wait, no, you can't hunt. What is the rules? I can't remember them actually.
I forget if it's 25 feet or 25 yards. I don't know anywhere near a roadway, so that's not something that I'm super studied up on. But yeah, you have to be a certain distance from the road. I mean, that was probably to some level what's going to happen, with like pronghorn hunting. It's not just like get out of the truck and take the shot or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't love that, but I guess goes back to what you said towards the beginning. Like, you're looking for that advantage. That is an advantage if you can cover that much ground.
Exactly. Yeah, there we go.
It depends on your definition of hunting from roadways, by the way. Depends on what that really means.
Yep, that's it. I mean, like, I was watching the what are they? The Born and Raised guys, and they use bikes, so they set camp up and then they ride down fire trails on push bikes. So, and they stop and bugle off the side of the fire breaks or the 4x4 roads. Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? In New Zealand, you're not allowed to shoot. I can't remember what it is, 100 meters off the road, or I can't actually remember the fine prints about shooting from public roads anyway in New Zealand. But private roads are totally fine, and people do a lot of spotlighting in New Zealand too for deer and everything. And again, just because the government wants all the animals gone, so. It's just another way to hunt over there, and it's good fun. Spotlighting animals is good fun, I'm not going to lie. It's great. So, obviously not, well, I haven't done it with the bow, but, yeah. So, if you guys need a camera guy, it's looking like I lost my job, I'm free. Where are you based, Trevor Fredericks? Do you have any camera experience, my man? Utah is allowed to hunt from roads. A lot of people do it here. They just have to get out of the car when driving. How do you get out of the car when driving?
I don't think that almost makes it sound like you can shoot out the passenger window, which I'm certain is not allowed, or I'm pretty certain.
I get no idea.
I think I see what's being described there, but just get out of the car in general, probably.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I know
what you meant now.
Yeah, like how do you get out of the car when you're driving? Like, you just like
gotta bail out.
See you later, car. It's been nice knowing you. Just takes off down the.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes more sense now. You're all right. All right. Gotcha. Some people are dedicated to hunting. All right. They just, goodbye truck.
Couple of bumps and bruises. It's okay.
That's fine. Yeah. In Finland, hunting from public roads isn't allowed. However, except any grouse species, hunting from private roads is allowed. Okay, interesting. I mean, I know Denmark, actually, they shoot lots of ducks from kayaks and stuff. So they'll, like their kayakers, they're blind and they put the decoys out, and they're just talking about vehicles, right? I think that's kind of a cool way to do it. So, hang on. Now I have shot a deer and have had him die on the private road at the club. That's just handy. Yeah, that would be very handy. Be great.
Yeah.
Wolverines in Colorado, you have to be 50 feet from the center line of any maintained road, I've heard, and seen lots of tickets for this. Interesting. Yeah. TK needs to go on a southern Texas whitetail hunt. Whitetail fever, we were talking about it last week, is next year, maybe. I have to talk to Ian about this. I might try and do a couple of weeks in the hunting in the States. Just try and bounce around as much as we can and have some fun, and hopefully meet up with Flinter and stuff like that. So we'll see how we go. I never thought about CWD. Do you think I should pull my salt lick off the property? I have 4 out right now. I don't know if this is definitely a Flinter thing. I don't know anything about CWD at all. So
I'd say it depends on where you are, because there's areas that it's kind of worked its way through a lot more. I would sort of look into that, but I know here, I think it was about 3 years ago, they started, you had mentioned cutting the glands off the doe that was shot. They didn't want any of that kind of stuff, like a hanging scent thing, like anything that multiple deer would contact, they didn't want that. So here, that's something that I really wouldn't want to do a whole lot with. But yeah, you might be in a place where it's not really a big deal anymore, because like I said, it's sort of worked its way through certain areas.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I know there was CWD in one of the reindeer herds in Norway, and they decided to shoot the whole herd, like thousands of animals. I don't know how far. I don't know if they got it all done or not. Yeah, just to get rid of it, because they're wild. They like the wild herds, and they wanted to protect the other ones before it got out of hand. So
Yeah.
crazy, eh? Crazy. Right, let's go. I think, unless you got anything else to talk about that. So we got 3 things actually from people on social media. So hunting from roadways was one, actually. Sorry, that was from Robin from AG. So we ticked that one off. Using falcons, Mantis guy on YouTube, like falconry. I don't know enough about falconry. I don't personally see anything unethical about it. As long as you're looking after your birds properly and your falcon properly and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like what you talked about with dogs. There's training and stuff that goes into it. I don't have a problem with anyone that does it. It's kind of like people that hunt with, say, like a longbow or something. That's a time-honored tradition kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It goes as much to that as anything, I think.
Yeah. And what's the difference between using holding dogs for pigs or using a falcon? Like, I think that would be quite exciting and cool. And I didn't know, but they can carry off roe deer. Some of these big birds. Have you seen that, Flancho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're big.
It was crazy, man. It blew my mind watching this freaking bird carrying a roe deer away. I was just like, okay.
Well then.
Yeah, that would take a small baby, no worries.
Sure would.
Yeah. So there we are. And then the other one actually, which is from Caleb, who I hope is still in chat. So broadheads versus mechanical. We touched on it a little bit before. What you want to start off with this one, Flancho, or
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
There's, I guess we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of both if we want to. Generally, you're looking at better penetration and probably better, not always better cutting diameter, but I'd say fixed in general are going to have that advantage as well, whereas mechanical are going to be more accurate. That's my reasoning for using mechanical broadheads. I want that accuracy. They, fly more like a field tip, and then assuming nothing goes wrong, they expand and, are similar to fixed blade performance, but it's definitely not as good. You're definitely going to have more troubles if you would hit, like, even just a rib can cause you issues. Obviously, hitting the shoulder blade is not good, whereas fixed blade can kind of sometimes do a little more. That one, I see the advantages and disadvantages of both. I just prefer to be more precise than have a little extra force. That's just me.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's I just think it's kind of what we went back to with the shot distance conversation. Sorry, is that I think
Right.
too, like, I think a lot of shooting, especially with the bow, for me has been like a mental thing. So you need to have confidence in your gear, and if you're shooting something that you feel very accurate and comfortable with, I think that's better than forcing other gear on somebody.
Yeah,
So
100%.
so I mean, well, I went to New Zealand and I shot 4 or 5 different broadheads. I can't remember what type of the VPAs. Obviously, I shot some Ramcats, but I didn't, due to my own faults. Actually, I didn't have too much success with those. And then I used the rip-off hypodermics, the Chinese built ones. They were great. There were nothing wrong with those. I've got the proper ones here too, and I've had them side by side now, and there's a little bit of difference, but it's not too much. And then I used some other cheap ones called Meat Seekers, I think they were called. They destroyed goats too. That were good. I mean, so like for me, I don't mind using expandables. I probably won't ever use them on anything big again. Well, when I say big, I say really like whitetail size, and that's just because. And again, I talked about this a bit last week. Well, I don't know if that's the reason or not, but the buck got away. It was definitely the shot was probably a bit too high. But then it's weird. Like I watched some videos on YouTube, and I go, "What the fuck?" Like he shot the deer where I shot my deer, and it fell over. What the hell's going on? And but for me, I now don't have the confidence for expandables on bigger animals, and I'm not saying they're not good on big animals. It's a thing in my head I don't want there. Okay, I don't want there to be doubt in my head, so I got rid of them just because of that reason, only because of a mental thing. And then I have to say though that those VPAs just blew through everything so good. I mean everything actually. I got full pass through on most things with that bow, but yeah, destroyed, absolutely destroyed the sheep, destroyed the deer, and yeah, I just like the idea of having pass through for ventilation reasons. Ventilation reasons, that what it's called, like flow. What I'm saying is, like, if you've got one hole, you're not going to get as good flow as if you've got 2 holes because of the way air comes in, liquid goes out, kind of thing. It's a little bit too
Physics or something like that.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Oh yeah, and the polymer arrow tips. They're test too that we did on those. I never used those in the field because they were shit. Just straight up saying that they were garbage. Don't ever use those. They actually, but it's funny is after watching some of the Ranch Fairy things, I think it's because my arrows are too heavy and the bow's too high poundage. I don't think they can take the force of the arrow. Is now what I'm pretty sure. Like I think if you're using 300 something grain arrows, they're probably fine for you. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So because some of these arrows that they're shooting, the mechanicals don't even hold up at the moment because they're too heavy. So how do the crossbreed things shoot? Fine, they shoot good. Bottom boy. I'm gonna hopefully do a video on them. I found some. I shot one and I was like, "Where the hell?" Like I could watch the arrow come out, and then it was like, "This is all flinging off to the left like that." And I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Took it back again, put the rubber band on, and I had a look, and one of the blades was sticking out just slightly, like not much more. Wasn't quite closed in, and it was because I'd screwed the broadhead down into it too much, and the blades couldn't fold up properly. But they're fine. They work good. So. 2 holes in the body makes more air come into the area where the lungs are supposed to be and compress the lungs from the outside, eventually causing the animal not to be able to breathe. There we go, Hosen. So, but yeah, so I think it's like one of these things where I won't ever tell anyone. I think it's much more important that somebody's confident and in what with what they're shooting, basically. So, the one thing I will say. And this is again only just after watching the Ranch Fairy, is that the only reason why people's fixed blade broadheads don't fly properly is because the arrow is not tuned.
Right.
So that's just something to think about, which I never really got into. But like I said, the next lot of arrows I build, I'm going to be building them from the ground up myself and noctuning them first and getting them all really super dialed in. And then like those VPAs flew exactly the same as my field tips out to 40 meters, no worries. And that was why I shot that fallow deer with them too, actually, because I was really confident with their accuracy. So yeah, that's, again, I'm totally back Flinter up. He's 100% confident with his expandables, so why would he change?
Yeah, that's it. Like, I saw Bottom Boy say, like, people will switch as soon as they have one that goes wrong, and maybe that'll happen, and that'll be the confidence thing. But yeah, right now, like, I have shot fixed blades, and it's probably what you said, like, it not being tuned properly. But there's been some flight, basically, because it wasn't quite tuned properly, and I'm just more confident with the expandables. And the last thing you want is something in the back of your mind, especially if you're taking a shot
you don't want
closer to the edge of your effective range.
You don't
want that.
Don't want nothing niggling in there at all. You just want a nice clear mind and execute the shot. You don't want to be going, oh, last time. You don't want those. You don't want those thoughts in there.
It's not good.
Actually, that's a good point. Flinter. They want to see some good pictures of the Freedom Flinger.
Yeah,
and that's such a great name. Is that the official name for it?
I think that's gonna be the official name. We can't change that now.
What was it? What was it? Didn't you have another
My
name?
brother had one. Freedom Flinger is what I said.
Oh yeah.
On the podcast last time. My brother was naming it something. I don't know if he's still here. You can let us know, because I can't remember. But yeah, I'm heading up here as soon as we're done with this podcast. I'm going to go shoot. I'll try to get some pictures we can maybe throw on Instagram or something.
That's that'd be awesome. Oh, that's great shooting, Hosen. They shot a grouse at 100 meters with a 308. No damage to the meat so whatsoever. Does it have a head then, Hosen?
I would assume not.
The impact area where that happens is about 5 centimeters tall, so there's not much room for error. Yeah, that's great shooting, Hosen. Awesome stuff, bro. The Freedom Flinger, that is such a good name. It is such a good name. I think I don't have an inkling to name my bows. I don't know why. I usually do name things. So, I don't know.
I'm not sure why I named that one. I've never done that before.
I mean, it fits so good, though. Maybe it's just because it's meant to be.
Maybe.
I don't know. So your opener starts this weekend, right, Flinter?
Yep, Saturday. Less than, a day and a half. I'll be sitting in a tree stand for opening morning.
Dude, it's so damn good. So damn good. Are you like a kid before Christmas where you can't sleep properly and?
Oh, every time, man. It doesn't matter. I'll do it until I'm 80 years old. Promise. I cannot fall asleep. I'll go to bed, like 9 o'clock, be like 8 hours, gonna be good.
Yeah.
I'll be up till 1 a.m., be exhausted, but as soon as I'm in the stand, I'm awake anyway.
Yeah, then you're like, okay, it's 2 a.m. I'm just gonna walk and go in it now.
I've done that too.
Yeah, just get in there.
Just to get out earlier.
They're just so damn cool, man. I can't wait for that. So that's cool. Actually, something we should talk about too, and I haven't even talked to Flinter about this actually, but as I'm going to be I have talked to Flinter about this way, but next week I'm going to be hopefully live streaming my hunt from Latvia on this channel. We'll see how it goes. It's very untested, and I'm very unsure about it all, but we're going to give it a go. And then the other thing which we'll be doing is I'll be putting stories at Instagram. So there'll be pictures and videos and stuff going in that as well. I just so you guys can kind of keep tracking tabs on what's going on with the hunting, I suppose. So maybe either Flinter, you can send me some photos, or you can Instagram to your heart's content or whatever, or maybe we don't do it. I don't know, but I think it'd be kind of cool, especially. Yeah, I don't know. Have everyone in the tree with you, basically.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's fine. Confidence in your equipment and your own skills, and if you are not confident with your skills, practice. Yeah, exactly, Hosen. 100%. Names that earn not given. That beauty earned its name. It did.
It did. Absolutely.
Brooke names her dogs, not the bow. Has Brooke got a bow too?
She does have a bow, actually.
That's cool. That's very cool. Stand naps are the best naps. Oh, geez, I saw a funny photo of it was a dog, like real startled, but it was the what did it say? The face you make when you look up from your phone and you see a deer standing there. Like,
I've done it.
how long has he been standing there for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the one I shot yesterday morning was better than most of the grouse meat from the morning before when I shot 4 with a shotgun. Well, yeah, I mean the shotgun's going to put lots of little bits and pieces in them. So,
They will.
has anyone else got any burning topics or anything? I think it's been. Did we miss anything? Night hunting. What do you
We
think?
didn't talk about night hunting much. We sort of got to that.
Dabbled on it a little bit, But
I think that's a weird one because, again, for certain species, that's not even nobody bats an eye at coyote hunting at night, or I think you said possum hunting. Is that what it was?
Yeah, possum, rabbits. We do deer and we do everything in New Zealand, but that's New Zealand, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can see the ethical side of it because, like, you're looking at probably less consistently accurate shots in low light. So maybe if for nothing else, just that, I wouldn't be a fan of it for, game animals and stuff. Like pests, like you said, New Zealand, that's, you're trying to get rid of them. I get it. Still, of course, you want to be ethical if you can. But, yeah, I guess that's a confidence thing, too. If it's legal and you're confident that you can make those shots, then, yeah, more power to you.
Yeah, I'm basically in the same boat here with this. I don't right species, right situation. Yeah, totally fine for me. Actually, I don't see it as a bad thing. And like you're saying, you got to have probably the right equipment too, and all that other stuff. So there you go. Coyotes and coons are hunted at night regularly around here. Huh. There we go. And there's the other thing that's weird is like everything goes in New Zealand basically. But you have to shoot ducks airborne. You're not allowed to shoot ducks on the ground or on the water.
Huh.
So, yeah, so it's weird. It's like actually ducks and trout and things like that. They're really looked after. Those ducks have a season because they're kind of treated as a sporting animal. People eat them and stuff too, but they actually look after those stocks.
Okay.
Yeah, quite interesting. So. Night hunting for boars in the US is extremely common. Exactly, Hunter, man, exactly. That was kind of weird. Frog gigging. What the hell is frog gigging? Is it frog hunting? Is it?
No, I'm sure it's some specific thing with frog hunting. I don't know exactly.
Oh, you guys have big ass frogs you eat, right? Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't tried those. That'd be good. Does it true taste like chicken?
Not exactly. It's close.
Oh, okay. All right.
Everything tastes like chicken, not exactly as close. So maybe I should just said yes to that.
Is it like, do you just dip them in sauce and go for gold, or deep fry them, or what?
I think they're done a lot of different ways. Deep fried is definitely one that I'd probably be more a fan of.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Actually, that's a good thing. It suppresses too.
Yeah.
New Zealand, it's great. Go for gold, doesn't matter. I don't understand actually why apart from legality and criminal kind of stuff, I don't understand why people can't use suppressors. It's better for your ears, better for everyone's ears, better for the neighbors, that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. Is there still no vegans here? Hey, honk, how you doing? I don't know if they are. They've been very quiet. So, but anyway, Flinter, what do you think?
Yeah, for suppressors, that's, again, it's illegal here, so it's not something that I ever
Think about
considered. Yeah, but I know, like you were talking about, it's just widely used, like for New Zealand and I think a lot of Europe, right?
Yeah, and Sweden, they're
Yeah.
yeah.
So I get like maybe you're encouraging just simply the acquisition of such suppressors, and they can be used for obviously not so good things.
Yeah.
And maybe it sort of hides more illegal activity because your shot can't be heard from as far away.
Yeah, like poaching you're talking about, stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't get the other reason is to give animals a chance. I don't get that really.
No, unless I mean, it's not like it's silent, and especially if you hit close to the animal. I think what you're saying is if you miss, you'd be able to get unlimited shots off because they're not hearing it. They can
Okay.
hear it, and if the impact is near the animal, they're gone. That's the case with generally, uh, rifles as they are without a suppressor.
Yeah.
You can miss by a long shot, and they don't care. But if you hit right by them and they see the dirt kick up, or they hear it, or even feel it if it's like right at their feet or whatever, that's gonna spook them.
Yeah. 100%, man. And that's the thing is they're not 100% silent. They still will make your ears ring a bit, just a little bit less. And I think because Honk's in there, that's last something is his name on here. They just got made legal in Germany this year. I think you'll probably correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, suppressors aren't illegal here. Just the 200 tax stamp that waiting for the ATF to get off. But the approve the paperwork and the waiting period is a pain. Okay, so it takes quite a long time. But once you got it, I guess you got it, right? So
Yeah, I didn't know that actually.
yeah.
Did
What
not realize that was the case.
What does ATF stand for?
Um, Not sure. Someone can
American
fill us
Tax
in.
Federation. Is it? I don't know. With suppressors, you protect yours and possibly your friends or your dog's hearing. The supersonic crack is always there. Yeah, there we go. Cheapest suppressor I could find around here was $450. Yeah, I used one on a 22 one night, and I took it off because I didn't know if I was firing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was literally like it was a weird. Like you could basically hear the click of the mechanism in the gun.
Were you firing subsonic rounds?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I out of the 22, unless I'm doing other things that only use subsonics, like it just absolutely demolishes possums and stuff. Like if you use the high velocity stuff, it'll often go through the possum, and the possum will just be chilling on the branch still. With the subsonic, it's like punching them off the branch. Like
Yeah, I
most of the
gotcha.
time, it just smashes the shit out of them, and they die really fast. So, alcohol, firearms, and tobacco tax. Okay. There we go. Gotcha. Maling. How do I say that? Should I just call it Melon? Hello, dudes. How are you, buddy? Tell me how do you say your name. I'm just chronically forgetting people's names wrong. So, in my part of Germany since last year, other parts of Germany have them since ages. However, since Germany is so dense populated, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, exactly. That's it too. So, yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed this, and we'll try and unpack some more, topics. And again, guys, if you guys have got like tonight was what is ethical hunting, and we unpack that a little bit. We've got a list of topics and stuff like that too, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else we can come up with. I mean, we've only just started too, so it should be pretty good. Just call me Marlon. Gotcha. Well, welcome on to the stream, buddy. Wait, do you have the same possums where TK is like? No, you guys have got like they're kind of a little bit white and look a bit different. Australian possums got introduced into New Zealand. In Australia, the plants they have there have natural toxins in them, so the possums can't stay in the same trees too long. They get sick and they have to move on, so the trees don't get really that badly abused by them. So when they came to New Zealand, the trees don't have any natural toxins in them, so the possums can just sit there and like strip a whole tree basically. They also eat birds' eggs and all sorts of stuff like that too. So yeah, they're also nasty. They'll hiss at you and sharp claws, and they also pee on you. It's good fun. So where's the best place to expand on the topics in the Discord? Yeah, just drop them in the Discord, or leave them in the comments on this video too, because this gets published. So feel free to drop some comments on this video. Maybe it's the best place to collect them actually. Yeah, just Discord or here is fine, mate. It's good. Or a message just on Instagram too. That'll work. So when it comes to small game, when is enough? That's I mean. That'd be interesting. I don't know. I mean, because the other thing too is we have to work out that might be something more on a bigger topic like bag limits or tag limits. I think that could be a good discussion one time, actually.
Yeah.
I think that could be good. So, just have fun. Hey, nobody. Good to see you. You need to tackle the political aspects of it one stream. Some states are one election away from losing a lot of riots. Oh, what topic was that, Bottom Boy? Did I miss what he was talking about?
I think he's probably talking political aspects of like hunting stuff in general.
Oh
if I'm
yeah,
not
okay,
mistaken.
yeah, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, the thing too is some of these things I'd have to lean on Flinter or I'd have to do some research about because I don't really know a lot about the American politics, and I'd be, I don't want to talk about something I don't understand because I don't think that's good at all. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I don't want to stand up here and try and pretend I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Oh, hang on. The Discord link doesn't work, Bottom Boy. Let me drop it in. I should still have it. I do. There we go. Drop it in the chat there. So, what animal is your favorite animal to hunt? Yours is caribou. Wow, you're up in the like in Alaska, right? That's pretty sweet. I don't know. I don't actually have a favorite animal to hunt. I think goats are really good fun, but they are fun to hunt. I don't know. I don't think I'd rather hunt other things. I think they're always a good fallback animal to hunt for me, basically. So
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much solely focused on whitetails, so that's pretty much all I can answer.
gosh, you're in Greenland. Wow, I don't think I've ever talked to somebody from Greenland before. That is cool, Marlon. I didn't even know you had. Well, it makes sense actually. I think I did know you had caribou. Now I think about it, because that whole band across was connected at one stage. Do you get big ones there, Mullen? And like, how do you go hunting caribou there? Like, is it a tag limit or? Because like you can hunt reindeer in Norway, you can't hunt them in Sweden, and you can't hunt them in Finland. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how it all works. American politics are funny. Yeah, I mean, that just like it's kind of a. I'm gonna say this. It's a mess that I don't understand, and I don't really want to dig into too much because it's not my country either. I feel a bit weird, like trying to dictate my beliefs onto your system. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. I think my favorite is here, since you can hear the dog barking in the woods chasing it, and you have no idea how far the dog is from the rabbit, and it can pop up anywhere. All right, that's interesting, Hosen. So you are definitely a small game hunting person, then, I suppose, right? Really a mess. Yeah, like I say, I don't want to get into politics too much. Let's stick to the good old-fashioned hunting and stuff. I think it's a slippery slope down a dark alleyway, that one. So
Exactly.
yeah, no, it's good. We've only got a couple more minutes left. I mean, we don't really have an intended time slot, but 2 hours seems to be about the right level, I think, for engagement and stuff like that too. So
I think so.
yeah, again, please, guys, if you got, if you're watching this and you made it the whole way through to afterwards, thank you very much for the support. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you want us to talk about and things like that. And again, next Thursday there won't be a podcast because I'll be out hunting, unless Flinter wants to do something by himself. Totally
We'll
up to
see,
you.
but
Yeah.
I may well be out hunting myself.
Yeah, exactly. And there should be, all going to plan, there should have been a stream that day anyway, from me in Latvia, and there'll be stuff on the Instagram and check and stuff like that. So we're really heading up into the good part of the year here, and I'm freaking excited for it all. So yeah. And the other thing too, guys, I want some feedback. What do you think about the stream overlay and the setup and stuff? Is there anything you want changed or something that's annoying? Like, we've got the settings correct this time, which is good. Didn't have to hurriedly throw everything together, so it makes a big difference. So yeah. But I mean, we'll talk before then, Flancher. But best of luck on Saturday morning, my man.
Yeah.
And,
Good luck to everybody heading out.
And like, keep us all updated in the with your progress and stuff. So
Of course.
Yeah. Any chance for selected viewer participation? Yeah, sure. Sure. Like, we're definitely going to be doing some interviewing and stuff for people. And it might be cool to talk to you, Hosen, about some Finnish stuff and, you know, yeah, just whatever, really. We're pretty open as long as it makes sense and, you know, I think the topic's going to be interesting enough and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right. TK's got to get more trophy background though. Cap is, yeah. I mean, I'm using the green screen at the moment, right? It's just a, I don't know. I don't know what to put on the back. I honestly don't know what to put on the background. It's just a white frame at the moment. So yeah, and I'd like to set up like a couch or something like Flinter's got. It's cool with his background with his animals and stuff in it, but it's just a cave behind me basically. Some of you guys have seen it before, so yeah. What's with Macy about? Do I miss something, Z the Big Hunter? Oh, with Jaxie Beard trying to film hunts, any chance of seeing him on? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've already talked to Jaxie. He wants to come on board and do some a podcast with us too. So that'd be freaking sweet, man. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I'd be down for that. He's I mean, we accidentally got into a hunting topic on a stream with him once, and it was great. Actually, it was kicking along really nicely. So it was good. It was a nice stream. Thanks, fellas. Always good to see and hear you. Oh, before I forget, I have the bow wraps now. So some of you guys, especially like Just Have Fun, have got the arrow wraps. Sorry, not bow wraps. All done. I don't know if you can see that. That's your one there, Blue Beaver. And so yeah, Blue Beaver. This ain't fishing. Chaz's one. Heartbreaker, which is Fee's. Store Oxen, which is Hunter CR's. One more for the road is Jay's. Flinter, and Heavy D's, Bigfoot's, Ned Bella is obviously Ned Bella's, and oh, that might be waking up. Fast and Smooth, Cheapers. I have to go back and remember Marv's. It's Marv's. So yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. Take us out, Flinter. What do you got to say, buddy?
Well, like I said, good luck to everybody heading out. I know there's places that seasons have been open for a while. Good luck to you next week. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, but
yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, exactly the same as that. Good luck, everyone, and have a good weekend.